The world is watching, eyes glued to the unfolding drama in the South China Sea, where every headline and every image signals a new escalation. Tensions in these contested waters have reached a breaking point, with rival patrols locked in a dangerous standoff that could change the course of regional history. On September 24, 2025, Scarborough Shoal, long a lifeline for Filipino fishermen, has become a global flashpoint, its reefs now the center of a high-stakes power struggle. Chinese Coast Guard vessels have established a formidable blockade, forming an unyielding wall that blocks Filipino boats from their traditional fishing grounds, escalating the confrontation. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, Filipino fishermen return to these waters daily, facing relentless harassment and intimidation from much larger Chinese ships. Their struggle has become a powerful symbol, one of a smaller nation's courage and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds, inspiring support and sympathy from around the world. The United States, bound by a decades-old treaty, has issued stern warnings. Any attack on Philippine forces could trigger the Mutual Defense Treaty, drawing in American military might. The stakes extend far beyond the fishermen. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade, with trillions of dollars in goods passing through these waters each year. The entire Indo-Pacific region now holds its breath. Diplomats scramble for solutions as the international community watches anxiously, aware that a single miscalculation could ignite a conflict with global repercussions. Scarborough Shoal, once just a ring of reefs teeming with marine life, has become a red line between superpowers, a symbol of unresolved disputes and rising ambitions. Yet Filipino crews persist, driven by necessity, hope, and a deep sense of national pride. Their daily struggle is a testament to the human spirit's endurance. Their stories of hardship, bravery, and longing bring a human face to a complex geopolitical crisis, reminding the world that real lives hang in the balance. Tonight, the waters are anything but calm. The tension here sends shockwaves across continents, as governments and citizens alike brace for what may come next. Every maneuver is scrutinized by military analysts and intelligence agencies, every escalation dissected for its potential to ignite a wider war that could draw in nations far beyond these shores. The Philippines stands at the epicenter of this crisis, caught between the ambitions of a rising China and the commitments of its American ally, its future uncertain. The world holds its breath and asks, is this how a war begins, or can diplomacy prevail before the storm breaks? Tensions in the South China Sea reached a boiling point when the USS Higgins, a powerful U.S. Navy destroyer, sailed assertively near the hotly contested Paracel Islands. This move was not just a routine patrol, it was a calculated demonstration of American naval presence in one of the world's most disputed maritime regions, where sovereignty claims overlap and the risk of confrontation is ever present. In response, China swiftly announced that its naval forces had driven the American warship away, a claim broadcast widely to reinforce its image of strength and control. For Beijing, such statements serve a dual purpose, reassuring its domestic audience of its resolve, while sending a clear message to the international community that it will not tolerate what it sees as foreign intrusions. The U.S. 7th Fleet, however, wasted no time in pushing back against China's narrative. American officials insisted that the USS Higgins operation was entirely lawful, conducted in accordance with international law, and that the ship was never impeded or forced to alter its course. This ongoing clash of narratives is just one front in a much larger psychological and strategic battle for influence in the South China Sea, a region that has become a flashpoint for global power competition. Time and again, China claims to have expelled U.S. ships from what it considers its territory, while the U.S. maintains that its missions are routine, peaceful, and fully legal under international law. Each side frames the encounter to bolster its own legitimacy. Both navies are constantly testing each other's resolve, pushing boundaries in a high-stakes game of brinkmanship where every maneuver is scrutinized and every response carefully measured. These tense encounters are nothing new, but as the frequency and intensity increase, so too does the risk of a dangerous miscalculation that could spiral out of control. With powerful navies operating in such close quarters, the danger of an accidental clash or unintended escalation is ever present, raising the stakes for everyone involved. Each incident becomes a test of red lines and diplomatic skill, as the world watches anxiously, hoping that professionalism and restraint will prevail over provocation. The war of words between the two powers is fierce and unrelenting, but everyone knows that if rhetoric gives way to real weapons, the consequences could be catastrophic for the entire region. China is determined to normalize its dominance in these waters, steadily expanding its presence, while the United States remains equally determined not to be deterred or pushed out. The USS Higgins episode stands as a stark reminder that in this volatile environment, a single misstep or misunderstanding could trigger a crisis with far-reaching consequences. The South China Sea has become a stage for a high-stakes rivalry between global powers, with every incident watched closely by governments and citizens around the world. In this tense environment, every maneuver is a calculated message, and every official statement serves as both a warning and a signal of intent. As the stakes continue to rise, the world holds its breath, hoping that cooler heads will prevail and that peace will endure in these troubled waters. The South China Sea is a global superhighway. 1/3 of all maritime trade passes through its waters. Any disruption would send shockwaves through the world economy, causing chaos and price spikes. The region holds vast reserves of oil and natural gas, making it a prize for energy-hungry nations. Competing claims threaten to lock out smaller countries from vital resources. It's also a critical fishing ground, feeding millions and supporting coastal communities. Overfishing and territorial disputes threaten food security and livelihoods. Militarily, the sea is a strategic gateway. China's artificial islands project power and restrict access. For the US and its allies, freedom of navigation is essential for regional stability. The South China Sea is where economic, energy, and security interests collide. China's aggressive actions at sea are reshaping the region. Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia use gray zone tactics, intimidation just short of war. Foreign vessels are swarmed, shadowed, and harassed, making the waters perilous. The goal: make rivals back down without firing a shot. The Chinese Coast Guard, the world's largest, enforces Beijing's claims with impunity. Maritime militia, disguised as fishing boats, blockade reefs and gather intelligence. International condemnation has done little to deter China's strategy. Beijing's calculated risk-taking is steadily altering the balance of power in the South China Sea. China's gray zone tactics become real in the form of water cannons, collisions, and lasers. Filipino vessels have been blasted by high-pressure water, damaging boats and injuring crews. Chinese ships have rammed Philippine boats, often caught on video as the aggressors. Military-grade lasers have been used to blind crews, risking disaster at sea. These are not accidents, they're deliberate provocations, escalating tensions without open warfare. Filipino sailors show remarkable courage, continuing their missions despite constant threats. Each incident is a test of resolve, pushing the limits of international law. The world watches as these dangerous encounters edge closer to open conflict. Under President Marcos Jr., the Philippines is pushing back against China's aggression. Manila has strengthened alliances, especially with the US, and expanded joint military exercises. A new transparency policy exposes China's actions. Photos, videos, and reports are shared globally. This name and shame campaign is winning international support and countering Beijing's narrative. Marcos Jr. invokes the 2016 arbitral ruling, vowing not to lose a single inch of territory. The risks are high, but Manila believes inaction would mean surrendering sovereignty and resources. The Philippines has chosen to stand firm, whatever the consequences. The South China Sea crisis is linked to the even more volatile Taiwan issue. President Marcos Jr. openly acknowledges the Philippines would be drawn into any Taiwan conflict. By granting the US expanded access to northern bases, Manila signals commitment to regional security. Beijing is furious, accusing the Philippines of stoking tensions and serving US interests. Despite pressure, Marcos Jr. insists the moves are for national defense, not foreign agendas. The Philippines is now a key frontline state, not just in the South China Sea, but in the broader Indo-Pacific. This bold stance has raised the stakes, making Manila central to the region's security calculus. The world's eyes are on the Philippines as it navigates this dangerous new reality. Beijing has escalated its rhetoric, accusing the Philippines of being a US pawn and provoking trouble. Chinese officials warn Manila to act with prudence, hinting at severe consequences if it continues its current path. State media amplifies the threats, aiming to isolate and intimidate the Philippines. At the heart of the dispute, conflicting claims over territory and history, with each side accusing the other of escalation. Despite the barrage, Manila stands firm, defending its rights under international law and the 2016 arbitral award. The diplomatic standoff mirrors the confrontations at sea. Neither side is backing down. The South China Sea crisis threatens global stability and prosperity. This region, rich in resources and strategic importance, has become a flashpoint for international tension. The stakes are high and the world is watching closely. A conflict could shut down vital shipping lanes, collapsing supply chains, and plunging the world into recession. These waters are a lifeline for global trade, with trillions of dollars worth of goods passing through annually. The economic impact of a disruption would be catastrophic. Food and energy security are at risk, fisheries and oil shipments could be devastated. The livelihoods of millions depend on these resources, and any conflict could lead to shortages and price spikes worldwide, affecting everyday life. The U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty means any attack could draw in America, risking superpower confrontation. This alliance underscores the geopolitical complexities, as both nations prepare for potential scenarios. China's actions are pushing the world closer to this dangerous threshold. Their assertive stance in the region has raised alarms, with many fearing an escalation that could spiral out of control. The Philippines is now the front line in a contest between international law and brute force. The nation stands firm, seeking justice through legal avenues, yet the threat of military conflict looms large. The world watches, anxious for diplomacy to prevail. Leaders and diplomats are engaged in intense negotiations, hoping to find a peaceful resolution to this complex issue. Scarborough Shoal has become a barometer for peace in Asia. This small but significant area is a symbol of the broader struggle for control and influence in the region. The fate of Filipino fishermen now symbolizes the future of regional security. Their daily lives are intertwined with the geopolitical tensions, highlighting the human cost of potential conflict. Will restraint win out, or will the cycle of provocation spiral into war? The coming days and weeks will be crucial, as the world holds its breath, hoping for peace and stability to prevail over aggression and conflict.